Hello, everyone. Firstly, I'd like to start off by introducing myself. My name is Jensen Glass, and I am in the Invertebrate Zoology lab course at St. Leo University with Dr. Ellis. For this presentation, I will be doing a quick and brief overview of the insect collection project that we had to do as a final assignment in the lab course. So the assignment was to take photographs of 15 different types of insects, classify them, find out some interesting facts about them, and then submit it to a Google Earth Pro application. So I'll be going over 3 that I found to be the most interesting out of all 15 that I was able to photograph. I'll first start by going through my map. As you can see, we have quite a few of the insects that I found were actually near my home, which is in Land O'Lakes, Florida. And then I zoom out here. I found some others in the area as well, not too far away from home. But then if you move over to around the Wesley Chapel, New Tampa area, I also found more insects there. And then I also have one that I found, which was one of the ones that I'm going to go over today, that was actually in Rainbow River while on a kayaking trip. So we can start off with that one. So it would be the Enelagum asperum, or an azure bluet. This one was particularly interesting to me just because I was kayaking on the river with my cousins, and it actually just landed right on my leg, and it stayed with me the entire duration of my kayaking trip, regardless if water splashed it or if I moved my leg in any direction. It decided it was going to stay and land there and not move. The order that this insect belongs to is Anonata. Location was on Rainbow River, actually in a kayak on my leg. The thing that I found interesting about these particular insects is that in its adult stage of its life cycle, it's actually a carnivore. So it eats other insects, which is interesting just based upon its size. It must eat smaller insects and can also help to rid the area of certain pests. There's also something else that's very interesting about this bug, and it's the fact that the coloring. It is a blue coloring, which is something that is not naturally found in animals of any kind. It is actually a reflection of light off of the cuticle of the animal that gives this bluish color back to the eye. This is not from any kind of diet, which is common in many animals, such as flamingos, who get their pinkish color from their diet. So this one was very interesting, and it was really cute, super tiny. It stayed with me the whole time. I would say that we kind of became friends on this trip. So moving on to this second insect that I found to be the most interesting would be the southern yellow jacket. Now, this insect belongs to the order of Hymenoptera. This photograph was taken on the floor of my garage with the garage door open, specifically, and it was during the day. The behavior that I've observed of this yellow jacket was it was simply just sitting there. It was moving a tad bit, but not much. It would move its antenna, and it was also move its wings every so often, but it was mostly moving its abdomen up and down, kind of in a stinging fashion, is the best way that I can describe this. What's funny about this photo is actually I had mistaken it for a bee at first, so I got really close to this insect to take a picture. And as most of us may know, the southern yellow jacket is a stinging insect and it does sting. It's a very potent sting, not very nice. So once I realized that it was a yellow jacket, I surely backed away, but was pleasantly or not pleasantly shocked that it was not a bee, which is why I guess the coloring works well for it. Um, the behavior that I observed, as I described, was just a random movement of the abdomen up and down in a stinging fashion. Once I took the photograph and backed away, the animal then scurried off and flew. An interesting fact that I found about the southern yellow jacket is that it is a species of wasp that actually builds its nest in the ground. So it is a ground wasp, which can make it harder to find their nest. Um, just because it can be underground, it can be underneath structures that maybe you don't really see every day. Things around it, such as dirt and leaves, can kind of camouflage it, so maybe you don't notice it as much, which can make it even more dangerous. If, for instance, you're cutting the grass or you have children that are playing outside, they can come across these nests on accident. The other thing about them is that if you step on them or you crush them or anything like that, they actually release an alarm pheromone, which is used to send a chemical message to other nearby southern yellow jackets or even wasps that there's danger in the immediate area. And these wasps actually take this alarm as a indication to attack whatever it was that has caused harm to one of their friends. So that's a little scary, but also very interesting. um that is my second one. The third insect that I found to be extremely interesting was this guy, the Centomedia epialis. Excuse my pronunciation, as I'm probably butchering these names. It's commonly referred to as the polka dot wasp moth. It belongs to the order of Lepidoptera. So the the location of this photograph is in my backyard on a cement wall, right along the edge of the grass and underneath a large oak tree. The behavior that I noticed about this in particular insect was that it was simply just sitting there. It wasn't moving. Its antenna would move every so often, along with its wings would produce a flapping like motion, but it wouldn't actually move. The thing that I found the most interesting about this particular insect was that its coloration is very unique. It has polka dots, it has a bluish tone as well as a red tip where a stinger would be. It gives the indication that maybe this thing is not something that other predators may want to mess with. Gives off the hint that maybe it's poisonous. It also behaves much like a wasp would. So it also is another reason to want to stay away from them or avoid them. Um, and I have watched them personally fly, and I have mistaken them for wasps in the past, and I feel very badly about this. But I have sprayed them before with wasp spray just because I did not realize it was not a wasp until I did further research and found I was wrong. So I'm so sorry. Rest in peace to all the polka dot wasp moths that I've accidentally killed over the years. Um, these guys are actually very harmless. They do not sting. They actually really have no harm or anything to anything around except oleander plants. And the reason for this is that their larval form, which is known as the oleander caterpillar, um, is not a caterpillar that bites or stings, but it does eat oleander plants, which is very unusual in the sense that oleander plants are extremely toxic. So this can be seen as kind of a good thing, but also kind of a bad thing if you're trying to grow oleander. Um, I actually found a nest with oleander caterpillars very close to where I took this picture. So I thought it would share it with everybody. Here it is. It is right here. It has an orangish color with black hairy spikes almost. They were a little creepy crawly. I actually wasn't quite sure what they were when I first saw them. So as soon as I took the photograph, I went inside and identified them to be the oleander caterpillar, which is the larval form of the polka dot wasp moth. So these are the bugs that I found, or just a few of them, that I found to be extremely interesting and something that I really learned about insects just based upon these 15 that I had to take photographs of in research. I really enjoyed this project. I feel as if it helped open my eyes to the diversity of insects within our world and around us all that are around us all the time. Um, they are just honestly fascinating creatures in many different aspects. And I really appreciate getting the time to talk with you about these insects that I found for my insects collection. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to comment. Please feel free to email me if you have my contact information. I would love to share. And I am looking forward to looking at everyone else's insect collection. Thank you so much.